Hi, you're on the Reddit Confessions channel. She didn't even notice the silence at first. That's how out of sync she was with this place. She walked in humming to herself, heels clicking across the hardwood, and tossed her purse on the kitchen stool like she always did. But this time, it didn't make that little jingle sound from my keys being underneath. Because my keys weren't there. The fridge light didn't turn on when she opened it. That breaker had been off for hours. She didn't notice. She took a sip of her overpriced party wine and sat on the couch, pulling out her phone, still humming. Only when she glanced at the TV and saw the note, folded perfectly, not torn from a spiral like my usual ones, did the humming stop. I watched from the alley across the street, behind the neighbor's lilac bush, phone camera shaking in my sweaty hand. Don't ask me why I filmed it. I don't even know if I'll ever watch it. But I needed to record this. Not for proof. Just for me. She walked over to the note. Her fingers hovered above it for a second, like touching it might make it real. Then she read it. No gasps. No scream. Just her face slowly collapsing. She dropped onto the floor like someone had unplugged her. And I swear I heard her whisper my name. Not loud. Not desperate. Just confused. The suitcase was gone. Just one. I left the other to make a point. She sat there on the floor for a long time. I don't know how long exactly. My legs started cramping behind the bush, but I didn't dare move. The streetlight flickered once, then died. Fitting. I'd shut the power off that morning, but it only now registered with her. She was too caught up in herself to notice. I watched her rise slowly, like she wasn't sure if her legs would still listen to her. She picked up the note again, as if maybe the words would be different this time. They weren't. You left me in the dark for months. I figured I'd return the favor. One suitcase is mine. The rest? We'll see. I could almost feel the chill ripple through her. She wasn't wearing a jacket. Just that slinky black dress with a neckline that screamed, I'm not coming home to my husband after this. For a second, I thought she'd pick up her phone. She didn't. She walked past it like it wasn't the same phone she'd spent hours on lately, laughing in low tones in our bathroom, whispering names that didn't sound like coworkers. I checked the logs. I knew. She went to the bedroom. I waited. When the lamp didn't turn on, I imagined her reaching for it again and again like it might suddenly work if she wanted it bad enough. A minute later, she came back out holding the second note. The one I'd left in her underwear drawer. This one was shorter. How many times did you think I wouldn't notice you lying to my face? Her hand covered her mouth. That was the first real reaction. The crack. Her knees hit the bed frame behind her, and she sat down too hard. This was the first time she looked afraid. Not sad. Not guilty. Afraid. She finally picked up her phone, and when she saw what I had sent her, her face went white. I watched her stagger to the wall like the air had been sucked out of the room. One photo. That's all I sent. Just one still frame. But it was enough. She didn't even blink at first. She just stared at the image like she didn't understand what she was seeing, like her brain refused to process it. Maybe she thought it was a mistake. Or an old photo. But the timestamp was right there, burned into the corner. A clear shot of her, arms around that blonde guy from her office. Finn, I think. The one she told me was harmless. He was kissing her cheek, and her eyes were closed like she'd never felt more alive. That photo wasn't from tonight. It was from 2 weeks ago, taken through the restaurant window while they sat on the same side of the booth, giggling like teenagers. I paid a guy $200 and a six-pack to follow her. I hated doing it, but I hated the lies more. Back in the house, she zoomed in, not on the timestamp, not on Finn's hand on her thigh, not on her smile. She zoomed in on me. I was across the street in the reflection of the glass, holding my phone, hoodie up, just a silhouette. That's when she knew. I had known for a while. She dropped the phone. Then she started pacing. Not crying. Not screaming. Just pacing with her arms crossed like she was freezing, even though it was warm inside. She muttered something I couldn't hear. Probably rehearsing her story. She always had one. Always had that innocent, soft tone ready to go. But I was done with tones. She walked to the fridge, opened it, forgot there was no power, and stood there like something cold might fall from heaven. Nothing did. Just the stink of leftover rotini and old air. Then, like something snapped, she grabbed her purse and pulled out her keys. And that's when I walked across the street. No more hiding. No more silence. She opened the front door and jumped like she'd seen a ghost. And maybe, in a way, she had. Because the Ellis she used to manipulate, he didn't exist anymore. But she wasn't the only one with secrets. I didn't knock. I just walked in. She had the nerve to say my name like a question, like she wasn't sure if I was real or if I'd walked out of the reflection from that photo and into her living room. Ellis, she whispered, like my name might shatter if she said it louder. I didn't answer her. I looked around, calmly, like a guest at an open house. That's when I noticed the wine glass on the counter. Half full, lipstick smudge, still sweating. She'd been back longer than I thought. So, I said finally, fun party? She didn't respond right away, just clutched her phone like it could shield her from me. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out at first. Then she forced a chuckle and said, "This is crazy. Why are you acting like this?" There it was. The deflection. The "you're overreacting" card. The tone that made me feel small for years. I'd let that voice bend reality so many times I started to doubt my own gut. But not tonight. I know everything, I said, quieter than I expected. She shook her head like that would erase it. Ellis, you're tired. You've been working too much. You're not thinking straight. Stop, I snapped, louder than I meant to. She flinched. Good. I've got photos, texts, even a voicemail you forgot to delete, I said. Her face dropped at that last part. You think I don't know about the hotel last month? Room 408? That was the moment she knew I wasn't bluffing. Her eyes darted to her purse like maybe she could throw her phone in the garbage and undo it all. I should have told you, she said, suddenly so soft, like she was mourning something that hadn't even died yet. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. You're right, I said. It wasn't. She stared at me like she didn't recognize who I was. Truth is, I didn't either. Then her phone buzzed. She looked down. She didn't mean to smile, but she did. A tiny, flickering, instinctual smile. And that told me everything I still hadn't said aloud. She was never going to choose me. That smile, it lasted maybe half a second. But it broke something inside me that I didn't even know was still holding together. I wasn't expecting her to fall to her knees and beg. I wasn't expecting tears or some dramatic apology. But that smile, that reflex, it was worse than any scream. It was the confirmation I didn't ask for, but desperately needed. I didn't mean to, she started, but I held up my hand. You didn't mean to smile when your boyfriend texted you while your husband stood in front of you holding your lies in one hand and his heart in the other? I asked, my voice cracking. It wasn't a clever line. It just fell out of me, ugly and raw. She finally sat down, rubbing her temples like she had a headache. Ellis, I don't even know how we got here. You walked here, I said, right after telling Finn you'd be home by midnight. Her head shot up. That name hit harder than anything else I'd said. She didn't even ask how I knew. Didn't deny it. Didn't cry. She just closed her eyes. Like she'd been caught cheating on a test she never studied for. And that's when I pulled the envelope from my jacket. Not divorce papers. Not yet. Inside was something much more painful. Printouts of her messages. Transcribed voicemails. Photos. One from our anniversary night, when she said she had a stomach bug and stayed home. Except she wasn't in bed. She was in Finn's passenger seat at that outdoor concert downtown, wearing the same sweater she'd told me she never wanted to see again because it reminded her of her mom's funeral. She took the envelope. Didn't open it. I don't want to read that, she whispered. You already lived it, I said. She stared at me for a long time. Then she asked something I wasn't prepared for. Are you going to ruin me? I should have said no, but I didn't. I didn't answer her question. Are you going to ruin me? What a strange thing to ask, coming from someone who had already lit the match and dropped it into the life we built together. I just stood there, watching her clutch that envelope like it was radioactive. And maybe it was. Maybe everything in it would poison her carefully polished little world. Instead of responding, I pulled my phone out and hit play. The audio wasn't loud, but it was enough. Her voice, sultry, giggling, flirtatious. Not the voice she used with me. This version of her had no trace of the bored sighs, no fake yawns after dinner, no eye rolls during movies. This voice belonged to the version of Palmer she reserved for someone who wasn't her husband. I told him I needed space, and he bought me flowers. He's such a puppy. But don't worry, I'll be free soon. That puppy was me. I paused the audio. She wouldn't look at me. Her hands were shaking, but she didn't cry. She just sat there, absorbing the weight of the silence I'd lived in for months. You think I want to ruin you? I finally said. No. I just want to stop ruining myself trying to love someone who checks out the moment my back is turned. She didn't say anything, so I leaned in closer and whispered, You told him I was harmless. That got a reaction. Her lips parted like she was going to protest. But there was nothing she could say. She knew what I was quoting. She said that on a call with Finn when she thought I was in the shower. She said it like I was a pet, like I was something to manage. I was going to leave you cleanly, she muttered. No mess. No mess. I laughed. You turned me into a ghost while I was still alive in this house. She finally opened the envelope. She flipped through the photos slowly, like she was reading her own obituary. And then she saw the last page. Her eyes widened. Because that one wasn't for me. It was a handwritten letter, signed by someone she hadn't seen in years. And that changed everything. She stared at the letter like it was something from the dead. Her hand hovered over it for a moment, then pulled back like it burned her fingers. I didn't say a word. I just watched her squirm. Finally, with a shaky breath, she picked it up. I knew what it said. I'd read it 100 times. It wasn't even long. No dramatic build-up. Just 3 short paragraphs written in tight, neat handwriting I recognized from birthday cards over the years. It was from her younger sister, April, the one she used to call emotionally unstable and a chaos magnet. The one she hadn't spoken to in 5 years after some family fallout she always dodged questions about. Palmer's lips moved silently as she read, but I already knew the words. Ellis deserves to know the truth. I should have told him years ago, but I was too scared of you. I see now that fear let you keep hurting people. You didn't just cheat on him now, you've been cheating since the beginning. Tell him about Nathan. Tell him about Chicago. Tell him what you did to me. The letter fell from her hands like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I picked it up and placed it back in her lap. Tell me, I said. She stood up so fast the chair nearly fell. Her whole body looked like it was made of broken glass. That was years ago, she whispered. You said that last week. And the week before, I replied. She started pacing again, gripping her arms like she was trying to hold herself together. It was complicated. I didn't think it mattered anymore. You didn't think I mattered anymore, I corrected. Silence. Then I asked the one question I never thought I'd say out loud. Did you marry me to prove something to her? She froze. That was it. That was the truth. This was never about love. It was about competition, control, keeping score. And I was the scoreboard. She didn't deny it. That was what hit the hardest. She didn't cry, didn't beg, didn't explain. Just stood there like someone caught forging the score in a game no one else knew they were playing. I don't know how long I waited for something, anything, to feel like closure, but it never came. Some wounds don't bleed. They just hum quietly for years, and I had a symphony inside me. I grabbed the handle of the suitcase I'd left near the door and paused. She watched me, lips trembling, eyes wide like she couldn't believe I was actually going to do it. For a moment, I think she thought she still had power over me. But this time, I didn't flinch. I'm not angry, I said softly. I'm just free. She blinked like she didn't understand the word. I didn't slam the door when I left. I didn't scream. I didn't say something cruel for revenge. I just walked away, quietly, like someone slipping out of a movie they didn't enjoy halfway through. I didn't even look back. I stayed at a friend's place that night. I turned my phone off, deleted our anniversary photos from my favorites folder, and I let myself grieve not just her, but the version of me I became around her. The smaller me, the quieter one, the one who constantly second-guessed if he was being too sensitive or not enough of a man. It's been 6 months now. Therapy has helped. So has hiking, oddly enough. I still overthink. I still replay scenes from that night. But for the first time in years, I don't feel invisible. Palmer tried to message me a few weeks ago. I didn't read it. Because healing isn't about proving a point. It's about finally realizing you don't owe explanations to people who never valued your voice. And maybe that's the real win here. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever had a moment where someone's true intentions shocked you, share it in the comments. We'd love to hear how you handled it, or how you're still working through it. You're on Reddit Confessions, where truth meets courage. Until next time.